I believe Daggerheart will become the gold standard for a new player's first MMO. I love this. So what they've done, they've removed skills. In exchange, they've added experiences. These are general terms that describe what your character excels at. I described my character Toto as stubborn and strong-willed. There's no such thing as a saving throw, you know? Think of the Pathfinder 2e initiative system, where if you can BS your way into saying, can I roll stealth for initiative because I was hiding in the bush, you BS your way into applying your experience. Hey, I'm trying to pull this cart out of the mud, which means I'm gonna roll strength. Can I add stubborn because I'm not gonna give up midway through? If I'm about to fail, I'm just gonna try harder. Yeah, it's very Fate Core, Phoenix. It's got the freedom of Fate Core with a little, just a touch more crunch and mechanical structure. Even the biggest videos on Daggerheart are only getting like 200,000 views, and that's from like Matthew Mercer himself, which is really unfortunate, and it lends credence to my fact that I think TTRPGs as an entertainment medium are dying. I think plenty of people are still playing them on their off time. I think less people are watching content about them. So you always add them both together, and if you beat the DC, you succeed. If your hope die is higher than your fear die, you roll with hope, which means you do what you were expecting and good things happen. If your fear die is higher than your hope die, you can still succeed. You will succeed at a cost. And it's so cool. The abilities are sick too. You know, I'm a warrior class, so I've got like spend 3 hope to gain +1 bonus to your attack rolls. That's right. I believe every time you succeed with hope, you add a hope to your character sheet, which you can spend as a resource. But if you roll with fear, the DM actually gets fear points they can spend as well. I will say, this does something I'm not a big fan of. I mean, I am and I'm not. I need to play with it more to feel it out. There's no initiative. Daggerheart does not use initiative, and the GM does not get a turn. The way it works is the GM gets to act either when a party member fails or they roll with fear. So if I roll to attack with my battle axe, there we go. If I roll to attack with my battle axe and I get a 21, that's gonna hit my target, but I'm rolling with fear. My GM can say, okay, you're gonna hit the monster, but then they're gonna get a turn, and that's when the monster gets to roll. And this is where I will say, like, it does a lot of cool things and a lot of things I'm iffy about. I still need to read the rules proper. But the armor and evasion system is sick. When an enemy attacks you, they only have to beat your evasion. Think of this as your classic armor class. I have 11 from my class, and my chainmail actually gives me -1 evasion, because this is just your chance to not get hit. If I do get hit, the enemy, depending on their damage roll, let's say the enemy rolled a 13. Because it beats my 8 threshold, I'm taking major damage. I would lose 2 hit points from that hit because it was major damage. What I can do is I say, I don't want to take major damage. I'm instead going to spend 1 armor slot to reduce that to minor. So heavier armor has a lower evasion rating. You're more likely to get hit, but you have more options to ignore the damage you take. But once you're out of armor slots, you can no longer do that, and damage is just going to happen. When do armor slots refill? In downtime, I believe, which is just resting. Ooh, that's right. Long rest, you also have a choice. You don't just get everything. It is 2 options. You can either remove all of your wounds, remove all of an ally's wounds, remove all of your stress, repair all of your armor slots, gain a hope, or work on a project. Which I love that they made downtime and crafting part of a normal long rest. And you can't do everything. You can heal, you can fix armor, you can clear stress, you can get extra hope, or you can, like, craft. I love that. I just made a video, like, 2 weeks ago about how I hate resting in Pathfinder 2e, because long rests are dumb. You're just going to treat wounds, you're going to wake up, and everything is good, because the game expects you to be at full resources. Daggerheart doesn't seem to expect that, and I actually dig that a lot. Ugh, I want to play Daggerheart. I want to play it. Oh god, but yeah, here you go, here you go. While unarmored, you don't have any evasion penalty, but your armor score becomes 0, and your major damage threshold becomes equal to your level. So rather than this being 8 and 16, it becomes 1 and 2. I also love that this is actually in the rules. You can reflavor your character's armor to suit them. A wizard using full plate armor might describe their protection as coming from heavily enchanted robes and protective rings, while their penalty to evasion and agility is due to the intense focus required to maintain such powerful protective magic. I love that that's right in the rules. Everything in TTRPG should be able to be reflavored. I love this. Every class overlaps with another class halfway. You see these? Codex and Splendor, Blade and Bone, Arcana and Midnight, Splendor and Valor. These are your class's domains. Domains function like spell slots. So, this has Blade and Bone. Ranger has Bone and Sage. So Rangers and Warriors can have the same abilities because they both have the Bone domain. But while Rangers have Sage, Warrior has Blade. It's so cool. The starting evasion is different, your hit points are different, your hope feature is different. A sorcerer, I've never made a spellcaster, sure. Sorcerer. Choose a subclass. The subclasses are Elemental Origin and Primal Origin. Grant spellcasting and the Elementalist feature. You can shape an element into harmless effects, additionally spend a hope and describe how your control over this element helps an action roll you're about to make. Then either gain a +2 bonus to the roll, or a +3 bonus to the roll's damage. Cool. So an Elemental Sorcerer picks one of 4 elements, and can either just manipulate it like a cantrip, or can spend a hope to manipulate it a lot and enhance a roll. Versus the Primal, which is your Primal Origin allows you to modify the essence of magic itself. After you cast a spell or make an attack using a weapon that deals magic damage, you can mark a stress to do one of the following. Extend reach by 1 range, which is awesome. I love that they've done away with feet. There's no feet, there's no meters, there's no squares. You are melee, close, near, far, or very far. I believe that's it. Melee, near, close, far, and very far. Gain a +2 bonus to the action roll's result. Double a damage die of your choice, or hit an additional target. That's awesome. Stress is... I love that they're using stress as a resource, by the way. Stress is terrifying. Stress works similar to hit points once it's marked off. However, once your stress is full, all future stress docks hit points. We're going to go with Primal Origin. Set your traits. I love this. Customization to yourself. +2, +1s. Let's go with... What is chat? Chat can be pretty smart. We love to manipulate. True. Bump your instinct. Bump your presence. And how about... Let's get your strength out of the negative. The type of magic that I really wish got more represented was warding and rune magic. I think, again, that's something you could do in Daggerheart. It's all about flavoring. The effects themselves are very... They're vague, but in a way that isn't abusable, like 5e. They're not mechanically vague. They are flavorfully vague. Choose your starting weapons. I love that arcane gauntlets are a thing. A 2-handed melee weapon that deals magic damage. Although the strength is unfortunate, because the sorcerer is the reason we have -1 to strength. I like that your class determines your starting stats, by the way. So, there's only 4 armors right now. Armor scores of 3 and 4. But they're different. Gambeson, 3 armor, 5-7 threshold, +1 to evasion. Versus leather, which is 6-13 threshold. So it's higher damage thresholds. Same base score, but no evasion bonus. Full plate, higher thresholds, higher there. -2 to evasion, -1 to agility, or chainmail, which is slightly lower. It doesn't give the agility penalty, it just gives the -1 to evasion. It's interesting that there's no requirement to any of this. However, something to keep in mind is our class's base armor class. Our base armor class is, evasion is 10. Which means if we take full plate, we have a 9 evasion, which is very easy to hit. It's cool, though. There's a lot to think about. This is probably one of my favorite armor systems they've ever done. And if they can keep releasing more unique armors than just these 4, I think it'll be really, really cool. I think there's a lot of potential here. And then domain deck cards. Each domain has 3 level 1 abilities to choose from. This is where the game shines. What? Pick and pull. Also, if you buy the game physically, you get an entire deck of cards. You have advantage on attack rolls to pick non-magical locks, disarm non-magical traps, or steal items from a target either through stealth or by force. I love that specification there. Spend a hope to make a spellcast roll and conjure throwing blades that strike out at all targets within very close range. Targets you succeed against take d8 plus 2 magic damage. Level 1 walking on the walls is a thing. Also, this is something I think needs to be more normalized. I love it in Vampire the Masquerade and City of Mist. Durations of until end of scene are so good. I'm so sick of counting rounds or minutes or hours. End of scene is such a good design for TTRPGs. How does end of scene work actually? Does this scene end as in theater, or does it work differently? It's just whenever you have moved on from what you are doing. You know, the party is in the tavern, talking to people, getting information, accepting a quest, whatever. Once the party leaves that tavern, that's a new scene. You're fighting kobolds in the cave entrance, the mouth of the cave. You beat those kobolds and move deeper into the cave, that's a new scene. Because it's pretty obvious when a scene changes. Even if scenes aren't part of it, like in 5e or PF2. If they're chasing someone out of the tavern, would that be included in the same scene? Yeah, it's entirely dependent. If they start the chase from inside the tavern and leave, the start of the chase is a new scene. The chase itself is a scene. So scenes can change without even changing location. That's a great example, Neos. If you're just talking and gathering information in a tavern, that is one scene. If a bar brawl breaks out in the middle of that brawl, in my opinion, is a new scene. That is a new scene that takes place in the same location. I love the Ancestries in this, by the way. Clanks are super cool. They're just your little robo people. Dracona are your Dragonborn. Dwarf, Elf, Fairy. Fawns, I love that Fawns are a base ancestry. Nobody ever does Satyrs as a base ancestry, and I think that's sick. Fairies, once per session after you a willing ally within close range makes an action roll, you can spend 3 hope to re-roll the dice. You can fly. You can fly. Just level 1 fairies can fly. I love it. This is a storytelling game. It's not a min-max number munchers game of who can do the most damage. It is, yeah, of course you can fly. You're a fairy. They're done trying to be this perfectly... That's not fair. Why could they fly? I can't fly. Yeah, you're not a fairy. You should have made a fairy. Fairies fly. And I love that it's called community. I love that it's called community. You don't pick like a heritage or a sub-ancestry or anything. You pick Highborn, Loreborn, Orderborn, Ridgeborn, Seaborn, Slyborn, Underborn, Wanderborn, and Wildborn. That's so awesome. You have advantage on rolls to consort with nobles, negotiate prices, or leverage your reputation to get what you want. Loreborn, you have advantage on rolls that involve the history, culture, or politics of a prominent person or place. Record 3 sayings or values your upbringing instilled in you. Once per rest, when you describe how you're embodying them, you can roll a d20 as your whole die instead of d12. That's sick. Then we can even go all the way to level 10, which is neat. Let's go to level 2. Increased proficiency. Your proficiency reflects how skilled you are at wielding weapons. You start at 1 proficiency and can increase the value to a maximum of 6 over the course of a campaign. Your proficiency determines how many damage dice you roll on a successful attack with a weapon, though other specific abilities... Okay. Level up options. Ooh. Wait. You pick 2. That's awesome. Everyone's level ups are going to be different? That's so fun! Gain a +1 bonus to 2 unmarked character traits and mark them. I mean, that's just really good, right? Permanently gain 1 HP slot, permanently gain 1 stress slot, permanently gain a +1 bonus to 2 experiences, permanently gain +1 to your evasion. Choose an additional domain card of your level or lower from a domain you have access to. Wow. So, this is what our level 2 chat looks like. We go down to our equipment. We equip your great staff, full plate armor, minor stamina potion. There you go. 9 evasion, 4 armor slots. Decent damage thresholds, actually. Those are higher than my warrior was, but my warrior was level 1. And then if we go to our effects, these are all of our abilities. This is everything you can do. Your passives from your ancestry are your magic manipulation, your floating eye, Oh, I missed these, just from being a sorcerer. You can sense the presence of magical people and objects within close range, which here, close. Your character is close enough to a target to see the prominent details, such as across a room or in a neighboring market stall. This is about 10 to 30 feet away. While in danger, a character can move into melee range with anything that's within close range of them as part of their action. That's so cool. There's no move action. It is you are close enough. Make a spellcast roll. On a success, you create a minor visual illusion no larger than yourself within close range. This illusion is convincing to anyone at close range or farther. Channel Raw Power. Once per long rest, you can place a domain card from your loadout into your vault and either gain hope equal to the level of the card or enhance a spell that deals damage, gaining a bonus to your damage roll equal to twice the level of the card. It's so cool, chat. It's so cool. There's a whole journal section for taking notes. I just love that this is the entire character sheet. Everything you need is right here. There's even a downtime button. Oh my god. You can do it. It's all automated. Nexus kind of killing it. Reset once per session features. Oh, wait. Short rests and long rests are different? A short rest. Taking a break for about an hour. Each player can swap out any domain cards in their loadout for cards in their vault, then choose 2 of the following moves. 1d4 plus your tier of hit points. I don't know what a tier is. 1d4 plus your tier of stress. 1d4 plus your tier of armor slots. Gain a hope. Nice. Okay, so long rest is fully restore something. Short rests are restore a little bit. You can download the SRD for free. Really? That's crazy. Yeah. Daggerheart's completely free to play. Look at that. It's just all here. It's just all right here. That's amazing. Good job, Daggerheart. Good job. Difficulty oh, for GMs, they even have, like, here's how tough things should be. Here's the DC to do stuff. Lift a horse, an ox, or a large monster. Break a god's grip. These are actually really handy charts. Wow. I also love that money is not gold, silver, copper, or anything. It is handfuls and bags. I love that. It's not, 12 gold, 4 copper pieces, please. No, it's 3 handfuls of gold, please. Oh, here's the tiers system. Tier 1 is level 1. Tier 2 is 2 to 4. Tier 3 is 5 to 7. Tier 4 is 8 to 10. Love that. I wonder if this functions similarly to Old Adventure League, where, like, characters of levels 2, 3, and 4 can all work well together in the same adventure without being useless. Okay. When a PC marks the last hit points, they must make a death move. That's cool. Blaze of Glory, you get an auto crit succeed when you die. Love that. Temporarily drop unconscious, then you work with the GM to describe how the situation worsens. While unconscious, your character can't move or act. They can't be targeted. They return to consciousness when an ally clears 1 or more of their marked hit points. Roll your hope die. If it's equal to or less than your level, you gain a scar. Permanently cross out a hope slot. Ooh. And then, ooh, that's so cool. So you can use this option if you want a less lethal campaign with built-in mechanical penalties. That's sick, because by default you can hold 6 hope. Permanent death failures. Yeah, that's awesome. Risk it all. Roll your duality die. If your hope die is higher, your character stays on their feet and clears a number of hit points equal to the... Whoa. So this is roll your 2d12. If hope die is higher, you don't die, and you heal equal to your hope. You can heal up to 12 hit points. You only have like 7 hit points. That's crazy. But if you fail, think of this as a super death save. If you succeed, you're basically back to full. If you fail, you die immediately. That's the gambler pick, right? Imagine that. Imagine you're playing Pathfinder, and instead of rolling a normal death save, your GM says, hey, roll 2d20. If that one's higher, you get to heal like 20 hit points. But if that one's higher, you die immediately. That's... Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. You know there's going to be a story, and that's so cool. There's going to be a story of the random nothing character whose name is like Bim Bob, who's just like a bard, who's died at 0 hit points like 20 times, has risked it all every time, and has never died. On a short rest, the GM gains 1d4 fear. On a long rest, they gain 1d4 plus the number of PCs in fear. Resting has consequences. I love the fear mechanic. It's not gonna jive for everybody. It's not gonna jive for every person who plays these games. As the GM, you have GM moves that change the story in response to the player's actions. GM moves aren't bound by specific spells or effects. When you make a GM move, you can describe the action whatever way the fiction demands. GM moves happen during GM turns. A GM turn begins when the spotlight passes to them and ends when the spotlight... This is sort of the interesting thing that a lot of people are not going to like. Because again, there's no initiative tracker. It's spotlight. It is up to the GM to determine whose turn it is next. A GM can make a move whenever they want, but the frequency and severity depends on the type of story you're telling, the actions your players take, and the tone of the session you're running. Make a move when players roll with fear, fail a roll, do something that has consequences, give you a golden opportunity, or if the players don't know what happens next. I kind of like that. You know I don't like player versus GM, but this is such an interesting way to encourage roleplay. If the players don't know what to do next, they give the power to the GM, and the GM is a little more aggressive. It's still not a versus game. It's not competitive, but the GM is the embodiment of fear. On a critical success, you let the player describe their success, then give them an additional opportunity or advantage. Which, by the way, a critical success in this game, you roll 2d12. If they both land on the same number, that's a crit. Even if they're both ones, that's a crit. On a success with hope, you let the player describe their success and how the world reacts. On a success with fear, you work with the player to describe their success, then take a fear and make a GM move to introduce a consequence. An adversary gets a turn, the PC takes a stress, you introduce a new threat, you raise the stakes. Same thing with if they fail with hope. If they fail with fear, let's say you roll a 1 on your hope die and a 3 on your fear die and you fail the check. You put them in immediate danger. They become the focus of multiple... Ooh, that's like an accidental aggro system that's not controllable. Interesting. They become separated. They lose an important opportunity for good. Oh, this is great advice. Succeed with hope. Yes, and. Succeed with fear. Yes, but. Failure with hope. No, but. Failure with fear. No, and. That's really cool. This is so helpful. This is some of the most helpful stuff. Using fear. You start a campaign with 1 fear per player character. You gain a fear whenever a PC rolls with fear, the PCs take a rest, or an ability or effect tells you to. You can never have more than 12. Spend a fear to interrupt the players and gain a move. So that's where a lot of combat threat's going to come from. Because rules as written, if players never fail or succeed with fear, the GM never actually gets a turn in combat unless the GM spends a fear. Using Adversary's fear feature, using Environment's fear feature, add an adversary's experience to a roll. This is so easy to read. Holy cow. This is so easy to read. It even gives you tactics! Burrow, drag away, feed, reposition. Difficulty of 14. To hit it, you roll a 14. Relentless. Passive. The burrower can be spotlighted up to 3 times during the GM's turn. It gets 3 turns? Mark is stressed to have the burrower burst out of the ground. All creatures within very close range must succeed on an agility roll. How does vulnerable work? When you gain vulnerable, you're in a difficult position. That might mean you're knocked over, scrambling to keep your balance, caught off guard, magically enfeebled. When vulnerable, the players and GM should work together to describe narratively what happened. While you are vulnerable, all attacks against you have advantage. Or all rolls against you. That's cool, actually. That means if you make someone vulnerable and then try to, like, intimidate them, your intimidate is also at advantage. Imagine if off guard affected everything in Pathfinder. Attack against all targets in front of the burrower within close range. 2d6 physical damage, and must mark an armor slot without receiving benefits. That's so cool! Oh, this is cool! Oh, if they can't mark an armor slot, they mark an additional HP, and you gain a fear! Okay, so I think this is, the burrower can be spotlighted up to 3 times, but I think you need to spend 3 fear to do that. That must mean there's a built-in limit so that you can't just spend fear to give the same monster 12 turns in a row. That makes sense, actually. I like that. When the burrower takes severe damage, all creatures within close range are bathed in acidic blood. That's so cool. Do they have like a basic? What's like a low-level adversary? Because that seems like a difficult one. Oh, tiers. Monsters are by tier, not by level. That's really cool, actually. So if your characters are in the tier 2 levels of 2 to 4, use tier 2 enemies. That was a tier 1 enemy. I mean, to be fair, it's a tier 1 solo. It is designed to be fought alone. It is a boss fight for a tier 1. That makes sense. So what's an Arc Necromancer look like? Difficulty 21. Thresholds of 33 and... Holy! Damn! If you want to do big damage, Good luck! Mark a stress to spotlight 1d4 allies. Attacks they make while spotlighted in this way deal half damage. Oh, it's allies. You can just make 4 people have a move? Oh! By spending a stress, and 1d4 enemies just get a turn. That's awesome! Make 2 stress, cause all targets within far range? Ugh! 30 to 100 feet away. Gross! Those who fail take 2d20 plus 12 damage, and you gain a you just get a fear back! Any target who marks 2 or more HP must also mark 2 stress, and are vulnerable until they roll with hope! That's sick! Spend a fear to summon a zombie legion, which appears at close range and immediately takes spotlight. And it has its own, like, 4 abilities! That's awesome! Not today, my dears. When the Necromancer has marked 7 or more of their HP, you can spend a fear to have them teleport away to a safe location to recover. A PC who succeeds on an instinct roll can trace it. How do you kill him? You have to deal... He has to be at 6, and you have to deal 3. Exactly. Otherwise, he always lives. Unless you can disable reactions somehow. Also, here's my interesting hot take. I'm curious to hear what you think about this, chat. There's no more saving throws. There's no armor class. No matter what you're doing, your strength reaction roll, your instinct roll, your attack roll, the DC is always 21. I love this. I absolutely love this. No matter what you're doing. Attacking, with whatever, a weapon or a spell or reacting. It's interesting. It smooths things out. Obviously, it eliminates the need to do different things. You know, something I do love about Pathfinder is, oh, their armor class is insane, but their reflex save is low. Let's target that. I think it could potentially lead to nobody ever doing anything different, because no matter what you're doing, it's the same success rate. Is this a giant enemy crab? Oh my god, that's sick as fuck. Clear the virulent hate and her 100 children. Motives and tactics. Consume, ravage, swarm. Spotlight any segment to make an attack with +6 modifier against a PC on that segment as clears 100 children. Swarm the target with their pincers. I'm probably going to set up a one-shot sooner rather than later.